Thanks for joining me. If you're wondering what this is all about, well, this is kind of a weekly thing that we want to do on a lot of the game development stuff, which is kind of a work in progress update, hopefully weekly. It's going to be a little hit or miss sometimes. That kind of shows off what we're doing, what the progress is, and what problems we've ran into and what fixes we've had. And also show off a couple of other projects here and there. Now, you'll have to forgive me. This is the first time I've ever ran this setup. This is actually Cam Twist plus Cocoa Split done into a live event. So there's always an opportunity for something to go wrong. In fact, actually, I'm almost guaranteed to have something go wrong. Anyways, but thanks for watching if you're watching it. So I'm going to kick right into it with our first thing. See, I told you it's going to be a little bit clunky. Crucible. Crucible is the upcoming game that we have going on. It's actually going to be a Kickstarter here, probably starting possibly as quickly as a day. The goal behind Crucible is sort of an 80s sort of game. Take the gameplay of Gauntlet, give it a little bit more depth and a little more oomph, and cross it with Terminator of all things. Basically, you're traveling back in time to stop the AI who's already traveled ahead of you from destroying all of humanity. In fact, when you start, all of humanity except for one small area has already been destroyed. Your job is actually to restore it by going through, finding where the AI has been parked at, destroying them, going back, hopping back and forth through time, finding all the different places they could be. Yep, see, I told you things could go wrong at any moment. Give me just a second here. Yeah, see, I was going to pull it up and run a bit of a demo of it, and things went wrong. So let's try this again. See if I get this right. Maybe. Maybe not. Hey, look. That should be broadcasting screen right now in just a moment. I also have no idea how laggy this is or how much CPU time that we're going to be taking up. Here's just the beginning of the generic log or start screen. You can see we've got a play button. Ooh. What we're going to load up is actually a what I call a playground level. These are just levels I use to test various concepts to see whether or not enemies are working, if they're colliding properly with the terrain. I think right now it's loaded up with, it is loaded up with a set of well, they don't have a better name than a buzz flyer right now. Basically with them, their entire goal is to hunt you down. They have no weaponry, but if they get too close, they start zapping you and stealing your health. The setting here is actually, there's a little bit of hodgepodge stuff, and you'll notice some of the graphics are made here in the office. Some of the graphics are actually done as licensed pieces here and there, and some of the graphics are kind of a hodgepodge of both. Little things like the explosions are a hodgepodge of a licensed-in graphic along with just a little bit of programming that does some tricks to randomize it and give it a little bit more a cooler appearance than the standard every explosion looks the same. And there's really not a lot to see in here, but it runs smooth. Hopefully it streams smooth. I don't know. The AI properly can move through the objects that will stop the player character since they're flying objects. And one of the things here, see, there we go. One of the things here is that the control scheme, there's actually more than one control scheme for Crucible. With Crucible, and switching back to me, There we go. With Crucible, we're able to do. We're going to be doing cross-platform, iPhone, iPhone, Android, PC, Mac, and very, very importantly, the Ouya. With the Ouya, part of the reason why we're doing the Kickstarter is one, if we can fund the game, but two, they still have the free the games fund going on, which is a matching fund. For every Kickstarter dollar, we match up to our $10,000 goal when we launch the Kickstarter, which should be today or tomorrow. Up to that point, they match it. So you really can't beat that. It allows us to bring down the development cost of this considerably. So needless to say, if you're watching this, we'll be begging you later. It also means that we have to raise $10,000 and have 100 people contribute to the campaign. We did it with Jumpman Forever. I think we'll probably be able to do it again. I'm not 100% certain. No, you can never tell. Random things just go wrong sometimes. There's a lot that I'll be revealing about that one down the road. But for now, that's our kind of our little tease kickoff to show that it's there, it works, it runs. Our control schemes, like for instance, this was done using keyboard and mouse, where the keyboard determined forward, backwards, and strafe left, strafe right. You'll also be able to choose from a dual stick analog, so that you can do dual sticking, especially important for the Ouya, which is completely controller based. And also means that for mobile platforms, we'll be able to support the idea of having two-thumbed controls for it, because controls on mobile platforms kind of hard to work with. We actually do have test hardware for joysticks and things like that, so we'll be integrating a lot of that support. We've already got some of that support integrated for Jumpman Forever. We're using the same engine as we did for Jumpman Forever, which helps bring our development costs, which is why, even though this is going to be a larger game than Jumpman Forever, we're actually able to bring it in for a smaller price, because we've already done so much of the work and gotten so used to the engine and reutilizing a lot of the programming and content that we did before. Some of the other things I'm working on, it's well, that's not quite the effect that it's supposed to get. It's actually supposed to be full screen and just a video unto its, or a piece unto itself. It's the Kansas Game Developers Association. I've been promising this for a while. Okay, that's just really disturbing. Let me turn that back off. Yeah, and I'm sorry about the messy office. Sometimes my office is clean. Most time it's not. Actually, you can see everything from DDR pads to old consoles to games. I'm very much a game freak, even though I don't really get to play as much as I used to. Anyways, with the Kansas Game Developers Association, I think this week I might still be able to get it out the door, which is the website and all the resources necessary. The goal is to help foster game development in the Kansas area. Surprisingly, we have game developers, both board game developers, I shouldn't say both, board game developers, collectible card game developers, video game developers, role-playing game developers. There are a number of them out here. We just don't all know about each other. So this becomes a connection point. And also with a connection point with other resource groups and groups trying to do education, like Butler, which Butler Community College, and full disclosure, actually sit on the steering board, what is it called? The steering committee board or whatever for the department that actually does game development, which is kind of like cool. Especially for a guy who hasn't graduated college, I get to sit and help determine the focus of things, or at least just nod my head a whole lot and go, that's great, no, that's horrible. And of course, there's also been some little things, like my machine started running fairly slow. I've got a 27-inch iMac. That's a fairly beefy machine. But you know, when you start doing this to it, yeah, it does start slowing it down after a while. Turn that off. So it ends up being, after a nice cleanup and actually moving stuff off to my backup drive and everything else. Oh man, it's amazing how much faster that thing runs now. Um, when it comes to Jumpman Forever, we're trying to coincide the release of the PC and Mac betas for Jumpman Forever, um, to have them coincide with the next Kickstarter. And that's really the only big hold up there. Because, the game works. Actually, it runs better on the PC and Mac than it does on the Ouya. Just a tad smoother. Which tells me I need to go back to the Ouya version and do some more tweaking. When we release the PC and Mac full version, we're going to be releasing the next level set. When we release the next level set, we're also going to be updating the Ouya version with its next level pack. So as we go along with all these releases, we'll be keeping them in sync as much as possible. And let's see. Now, when it comes to other development stuff, for the most part, I'm getting outside and getting away from web development for a number of reasons. And part of it is number of times I've had customers who don't pay their bill, how slow they pay, how low paying it is a lot of times. And it's like, well, it's time to go back to the thing I'm passionate about, which is video games. That does not mean I don't do any web development, though. For instance, I'm going to show you a couple of sites here. Let's see if this works. Hey, I think we did. Woohoo! See? Technology's grand when it works. Wichita Pride. Wichita Pride actually was not... It's not like a paying gig, okay? I'm not making a whole lot of money off this. In fact, I'll make my hosting fees for the year off of it, and that's it, which is not a whole lot. They had problems. They had Network Solutions decide that they were a spammer, which we can find no evidence of that was the case. And Network Solutions shut them down completely. And not only that, their automated support system became such a pain that they... Turn off the sound here. That they actually lost the Network Solutions has lost their hosting, and eventually will lose their domains too and have it moved over to me. With this, when I redid it, we couldn't reuse the existing themes, so I reutilized some existing themes I had laying around, along with brought in some connectivity for their various social media accounts and things like that, and just pulled all the data. Now, oddly enough, right about the same time, I was also working on the Center of Wichita, and there's this kind of weird crossover because they're both the LBGT community. The Center of Wichita is a meeting space and all that sort of stuff. And actually, First Geek Congregation, I'm not going to say church, my congregation, my gathering of people who are religiously oriented, though not all quite the same sort of mentality, gathers there on Sundays at 2 o'clock. And then Pride also gathers at the Center of Wichita. So, got the Center of Wichita site up and running. I actually did have one paying commercial site that I did, which is Suzanne Lambden. Suzanne Lambden's site is, Suzanne's a local author of the Dead Hearts series. If you haven't had a chance, stop by her site, SusanLambden.com, and check out her work. It's actually, they're kind of interesting books. And by the way, one of the reasons for showing off little updates like this is that try that again. There we go. One of the ideas of doing little updates like this, anyways, and showing these off, is, well, because I don't do web development on a large scale commercial basis. I only do it with people I know and people that, basically people I trust. There's got to be somebody that vouches for it or something like that, like Wichita Pride and the Center of Wichita. The Center of Wichita, I know the guys behind it. I know they're fantastic people. They're not going to hassle me. Wichita Pride, I know the ex-president of Wichita Pride, and he asked me, "Hey, could you do this?" So there's somebody that pitched it in. Because of this, it means that these are people actually I would like to see succeed at what their goals are. Like Suzanne, to write more books, to sell more books, and spend more time at cons. So every time I get to mention these people, it's kind of a cool thing. It's my way of helping out. Granted, all 3 people who see this video, one of them will probably rush over and take a look at it. But hey, whatever I can do to help other people out. And then upcoming, along with, let's try this again. There we go. Upcoming, along with the stuff that we just finished, is the next revamp of the Great Plains Renaissance Festival website. The RenFest website is kind of one of these fun things. I took over control of doing it ages ago. 2009, 2010 maybe. I'm gonna have to eventually learn all the hotkeys for this, or that, or find some sort of controller to just be able to flip through all these. Anyways, every couple of years we go through a revamp on it, and try to improve the functionality of it, and try and get it more friendly to the user. For instance, this next revamp changes it over to a very much a reactive website type setup, which means that no matter if you're on mobile or desktop or what have you, it's always going to look right and look the same. Consistency kind of being important to us on that. Again, it's another one that I don't really make a whole lot of money off of, but that's okay. There is a trade here. While I don't make a whole lot of money off of it, I do make, I guess, one big Benny, which I get to run the Kansas Authors Pavilion every year. Kansas Authors, or twice a year actually. The Kansas Authors Pavilion is all these authors that I meet up with and meet over the years. We all get together. I have a 20 by 20 pavilion, set the pavilion up at the RenFest, plunk, and all the authors come in. It's free for them, and they get to meet up with other people and meet the crowds and tell everybody, about their books, sell books, swap notes with each other between the authors, even sometimes meeting new authors who never knew it existed. So it's a really cool event, and it doesn't cost me anything to do that event. Thanks to the Great Plains Renaissance Festival, who give me the space. I just provide the tent and the authors. They even usually provide me a little bit of a blurb in their flyer that they have. Now, I did want to do one thing, because it's kind of fun. The Great Plains RenFest, his site has been around for a while. I think the earliest entry is 2001. Now, the reason why I mention this, because this is kind of fun, you see what it looks like now. And we're getting ready for the next revamp. This is where it started. That's back in 2001. It's kind of fun sometimes to see how sites have evolved over time. So here it is in 2003, 2007, 2009 is where I was the last year, I believe, that it was maintained by somebody else, and was where I took over from it. And I don't have one for where we first started, I don't think. By the way, if you've never seen this before, go to just Google search Internet Archive, or Internet Wayback Machine. It's a really cool way of being able to go to a website and hello. There we go. It's a really good way to be able to go back on a website and take a look at where it has been historically and kind of see how web development has changed over the years and what kind of designs and styles that have been redone over the ages. And it's kind of cool because I mean we're only talking 12, 13 years there of history, but it's amazing to see how much and how far it has gone. And then I do have another project coming in, which is, of all things, a campground system. And I'll be talking a little bit more about it the next time, along with more updates on Crucible and Jumpman Forever, and a mystery project that we've got coming called P3V3. So I hope you had some sort of enjoyment out of watching this. And when I get done with this, I get to watch it and see how many glitches I found in it and how bad the audio is and all that good stuff. But anyways, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you check it out next time. Catch me on Facebook at facebook.com/MidnightRider, or catch me on Twitter as Midnight Rider there, or go to midnightrider.com or midnightrider.org, or any number of places you can catch up with me. And give me a holler if you got any questions or thoughts. Thanks a lot. Bye. Well, I'll say goodbye just as soon as I find the button to quit this. Aha! All right. See you later. Bye.